This is Racing to Win, a twice-weekly preview show of the Hong Kong racing, and we're heading for a big Sunday afternoon at Sha Tin with the Group 2 racing. The sprinters are in action with the Premier Bowl. Great to have your company here on the show. I'm Tom Wood, joined alongside by Paul Lally and Nick Child. And Nick, the Premier Bowl, handicap conditions, Group 1 winners in the race like Stronger, Skyfield and Wellington. Won't be easy for them up against new horses like Lucky Swainess.
Absolutely, Tom. Yeah, thoroughly looking forward to it as well. It's a quality race and always gives a good indication towards the international meeting in early December. But as Tom's mentioned there, it is much quality all the way through, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a great afternoon at Sha Tin. Paul, any jackpots? And there are quite a few new horses going around.
Yeah, some good ones coming through. Some of them raced in other jurisdictions as well. Looking forward to seeing a couple of those run around. But there is a jackpot, a decent one as well. 5.1 million going into the triple trio, so that should get over 10 million for a winning unit, so $10 unit. So good jackpot there.
Yep, surely is. One of the newcomers we were looking forward to seeing was Lightning Warrior, but he has come out of one of the later races on the program, race number 9. There are a few withdrawals to take note of, especially out of race 5. There are 2. They are 2 Flying Season and 3 Joyful Win, so 2 and 3 come out of race number 5. And then a couple more later on as well there. In fact, just one more with the Lightning Warrior. But he's been replaced by Sake Win. The Frankie Law-trained galloper gets in with saddlecloth number 3 and Matthew Chadwick to take the ride on Sake Win. So those are the scratchings to keep you up to date with for Sunday's card at Sha Tin. Let's have a look at what we've got coming up on the program, and it is a 10-race card on the B+2 course. All races on the turf for meeting number 13 of the season. And here on the extended show of Racing to Win, we are previewing the Premier Bowl, of course, the Group 2 handicap there over 1,200 metres, and the Magpie handicap. We'll see what we can pick out there in a very competitive Class 3 over 1,200 metres. The Premier Bowl, race number 8 on the 10-race card, features Wellington, of course, the Chairman Sprint Prize winner at the back end of last season. He's had 2 trials leading into Sunday. Skyfield comes into the race for Keith Young, who's picked up the ride. Stronger, Courier Wonder's back, and he's got the hood going on. He ran 5th in this race last year. Last year's winner was Lucky Patch, De Souza and Pierung. Computer Patch is back from Courier, where he didn't enjoy the deep sand track there. Sight success. Lucky Swainess for Zach Purton, drawn wide in barrier 11. Cordyceps 6 was beaten first up, but here he is second up. Master 8, Duke Y, and Fantastic Treasure, a last start winner down in Class 2 for David Hayes and Matthew Chadwick. Righto, let's have a look at the speed map here, and we can bring that up for you for the Premier Bowl. And as we see them go here from the start, Nick, what does Computer Patch do? Because he's a horse that has been going back recently, but does he lead with maybe no alternate leader in the race? What about Master 8?
Yeah, you know, he might do, Computer Patch. Obviously, Lucky Swainess is drawn wide, so there's a little bit of a sort of a conundrum for him to overcome early doors. As for Master 8, well, like you say, he's a horse who has got plenty of pace. He's drawn 3 as well, so they could make good use of Master 8, I think, and press forward. And it wouldn't be beyond the realms, Paul, to see Courier Wonder back in action, press on as well. He can also race handy.
Yeah, he has gone back in a couple of his trials as well, so there is a little query on Courier Wonder. But look, Computer Patch, he's drawn 9. I think he's got no choice but to go on. Lucky Swainess is drawn outside him, so that's why I think the 2, just the way the barrier draws have fallen, I think Computer Patch hasn't got much choice. Master 8 will get a perfect trail. Cordyceps 6, Wellington should get nice runs as well. Skyfield is better when he goes back.
Yes, and of course Skyfield raced a lot handier in the National Day sprint there down at the straight. Past winners of this race, Nick, well, Lucky Patch, he was the informed horse going into International Day last year, but some good names there, the likes of Seasons Bloom and Hot King Prawn as well, Mr. Stunning.
Yeah, he was good last year, wasn't he, Lucky Patch? One off a mark of 109. He's a bit higher in the weights this time in, and obviously some good names on there. Hot King Prawn certainly won. Obviously, he was a super horse on his day.
Yeah, a Group 1 winner, so good horses win this race.
Yep, they certainly do. Well, we can hear from a good horse leading into this year's edition of the Premier Bowl. It is Zach Purton. He's riding Lucky Swainess for trainer Manfred Mann.
Zach, Lucky Swainess is your ride in the big race this Sunday, the Premier Bowl. He's a horse very much on the up, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly keeps raising the bar every start. He was impressive last time with no weight on his back. Carries a little bit more this time around, and he's drawn really awkward, so it's a big task ahead of him, but you know, he deserves his place in the field, and see how he goes.
You're obviously unable to ride him last time. You would have obviously looked back on that race, I'm sure, and obviously had a good handle on the form. What was your impression of that performance from him?
It was certainly impressive. You know, he was slow out of the gate. had to do a lot of work in the early and mid stages to get the position that he had in a really fast run race, and then he accelerated, very nicely when he was asked, and put them to bed. So, he couldn't have been any more impressive, really.
What of his recent trials, Zach? I mean, you've had a sit on him since then, of course, and he looked to be really good in that trial.
Yeah, he was just a little bit grubby coming out of the gates. He didn't fly. He's got that tendency. It's probably one of the only things he sort of does wrong. He doesn't always hit the ground running, so he needs to get that right from a bad gate.
Talking of his gate, now I went back and had a look at his run 2 starts ago when you rode him. Now he mustered quickly and he got to the lead. And is that necessarily something he has to do, or can he take a lead? I mean, from your gate, what's your train of thought going into the race?
It's just to get him out the gates first, and then see what happens. This is a different race. We're up against different horses. It's a different class of race, so there's going to be a lot more pressure, I would assume.
I guess there's a bit obviously against him. Like you say, he's unproven in this type of grade. I mean, I know Manfred's always had a decent opinion of him, and having spoke to you about him a few times, I mean, he was doing noticeable things wrong early doors. Do you feel that now he's becoming more the finished article?
I wouldn't say he's a finished article yet. He, like I said, he can clean up his manners, getting out the gates a little bit better, and he's got that tendency to want to hang in the straight. So, they're the 2 things that you need to help him with, but everything else, he's pretty good. He gets it right.
6 wins from 8 starts so far for Lucky Swayness. We can head back and look at the Chief Executive's Cup now, going back to the first meeting of the season. Here he is up near the pace. Coming through the Chief Executive's Cup as well was Duke Why. He was held up behind them. He got, of course, knocked over. Lucky Patch out wider, and also Skyfield further out on the track here. Paul, we heard from Zach before. He hasn't exactly been a gun out of the gate. He does take a little bit of riding early, Lucky Swayness.
Yeah, he does a couple of things wrong. You can see that hanging tendency he's got as well. You have to be on his A game here because he's up against the big boys, but you can see him just running in a little bit. Look, he won easy enough. He was well clear, and he had these other horses covered really well. Skyfield would have come on a lot from his run, but it was pretty impressive. He did win nicely, albeit do a few things wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Look, he's still very immature, I think, isn't he? But he's clearly a very nice horse, and the stats don't lie. They tell a good story.
Yeah, they certainly do. A son of Swayness, out of a good race mare in Madonna Mare, and just a 4-year-old who looks a very progressive sprinter. Such a good turn of foot over the final stages as well for Lucky Swayness. We can continue on and to have a look at our preview of the Premier Bowl, and here we've got them down the straight in the National Day Cup. There's Cordyceps 6, of course. He failed first up. He ran second, but he's not really a first-up horse. Lucky Patch there as well. Stronger behind Skyfield at this point, who raced a lot handier. And on the outside rail is Master 8 in this race here. And Nick, he's a potential candidate to lead, possibly, Master 8?
Yeah, I think so. He's always shown good speed, hasn't he? And he can certainly put himself there on the pace. He's wearing a tongue tie for the first time as well, which I thought was quite interesting, especially for a sprinter, because they obviously try and do it sometimes in one breath, don't they? So a bit of help there won't go amiss. I thought the run in this race possibly Skyfield, but take nothing away from Cordyceps 6 there, Paul. He looks like he's carrying on as he finished last season.
Yeah, look, and he's got the conditions of the race to suit. He comes in with the lightest weight as well, Cordyceps 6, so he's a big chance in this race. He's got to go in, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much between Cordyceps 6 and also Lucky Swayness in this race. We saw Skyfield there. He was 50-50 to come into this race, Skyfield, according to his trainer Casper Founds, but this was the piece of work he was happy with, so they pressed forward to accepting.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see Keith Young aboard here getting a feel for the horse, and he's obviously going to ride him on race day, so a good pick-up from Keith. He's drawn nicely in barrier 4, but look, I think they'll hold him up, Skyfield. They did go forward last time, but I think he's a better horse held up. That's him in the middle, if you're looking there, in the blue saddlecloth.
Yeah, nice bit of controlled work and great opportunity for Keith as well. Just to reiterate, obviously, what Paul just said, this is a big opportunity for him, and be nice to see him land a big prize.
Yeah, of course, the handicap conditions, they don't make it easy for him. Now we can see held up behind them here at the top of the straight is Fantastic Treasure. Nick, is he an interesting horse coming into this with his light weight, because he has shown he's certainly progressive?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he's got cheek pieces on for the second time, and obviously he had a bit of a slump in form last term. Didn't manage to win from half a dozen. He had issues, but great to see him back with this win. This was a Class 2 handicap. This is a Group 2 handicap, so it's a different kettle of fish entirely, Paul. But David Hayes has made no secret that he's a very, very good horse.
Yeah, and he looked good last season, and sort of just went off a bit, with it, with his issues and stuff. But it's good to see him back. So, look, he's in. He adds a bit more to this race, doesn't he, with the lightweight?
Go back to last season, the Champions Day, Chairman's Sprint Prize here is Wellington in the race as well. You've got Computer Patch. They have been going back on him in races. Computer Patch. You've also got Sight Success, who was handy to the speed. Skyfield behind them. Lucky Patch and Stronger further out on the track in the Chairman's Sprint Prize. He was just the horse that they couldn't really beat at the back end of last season, Paul Wellington.
Exactly. Look, he's got the conditions against him, has to carry the big weight, but one thing in his favour is he's got a really good fresh up record. I like the fact they've given him 2 trials leading into this as well. And look, he's only 2 pounds above his last season's weight, so he looks spot on for me. I think he can win this race.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, those trials have been phenomenal, and they've made no secret that they have started earlier. And I mean, yeah, if you take the trials form and the fresh form, he's going to be a force.
And we can see the trial here. He's out wide on the track, a fair way off the pacemaker in this trial, who was WizKid, but also in the trial is Sight Success. He was closer to the pace. And this horse back in the pack here, Courier Wonder, Nick. I wonder if they changed the tactics on him, because his recent 3 trials, he's all gone back, and I think he's been finishing off his trials better.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? And it would be great to see him bounce back to form. 273 days since he last raced. So he's another one that's had a bit of an interrupted preparation. He's a Group 3 winner, let's not forget, so he's got plenty of class. But you've really got to love the way that Wellington closes off in this trial under a nice hold pull, and he looks ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? And look, this is one of the 2 trials he's had and really stretched out well. The other horse, Sight Success, I fear for him from barrier 12.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for him from out there. So we've seen all of the clues for the Premier Bowl of 2022. With all that in mind, Paul, who you were siding with?
Yeah, really good races. I'm going to go with the Group 1 winner, though, Wellington. I know he's got to carry the weight, but geez, the trials have been good, and we know he's a class horse. Lucky Swainess, he's the up-and-comer along with Cordyceps 6, so the other 2 trying to knock him off his crown. And we'll give Courier Wonder a chance in there for 4th, see how they ride him. 1-8-9-4.
Yeah, I'm with Paul here. I think the class might just shine through with Wellington. He's a real class act. He's a 3-time Group 1 winner, let's not forget. And he really has looked primed and ready for this first up run. So Wellington on top over Lucky Swainess, who's clearly a very smart horse. They put him up 14 points, but I think he'll continue to climb the ladder. Cordyceps 6 in for 3rd. He looks to be in very good form. And Skyfield, I thought, was a good run last time out, and he's a decent price as well. 1-8-9-2.
Both Paul and Nick siding with Wellington for the running of the 2022 Premier Bowl over the 1200 metres. Our Group 2 feature on Sunday afternoon at Sha Tin. Speaking of Wellington, head over to the website hkjc.com and click on the audio and video section. There you can catch up with Nick Child and Mark McNamara on Hong Kong Direct. And Mark was on there hosting the show with Nick down at the stables of Richard Gibson, a tour down there. You can see Wellington and Cordyceps 6 there. hkjc.com audio and video. We preview race 9 here on Racing to Win, up after the break. Racing to Win continues, and we're up to the second half of the show with race number 9, a very competitive Class 3 race over the 1200 metres that we're about to preview. And here's the lineup for it, with Invincible Missile, Victor Wong from barrier 13 resuming. Kingland there. Sakewin gets into the field. The cheek pieces going on to the first, for him the first time. Happy Sharing's been in good form. A last start. Winnamadori Beauty ran off in the straight last start. Has come up with barrier 14. Jazz Club Spangled Fortune is a newcomer. Did race in France prior to arriving. Beauty Tycoon, a last start winner. Tamara Blitz has only had 1 run, and here he is first up for the season. Victor the Winner, very strong debut winner was Victor the Winner for Matthew Pooney's drawn 1. Golden Artie's a newcomer, did win a race at Doomben, Queensland, Australia prior to arriving. Awesome Treasure and Enchanting Ibis in the lineup as well for race number 9. The speed here for the Magpie handicap, and we can see them go from the start. Victor the Winner showed a tremendous pace last time out, did Victor the Winner. But Happy Sharing, Nick, he should be in close attendance because he also likes to race forward.
He does, and he did so last time when winning, beat Midori Beauty, who decided to run around a bit at the home straight. But Victor, the winner, I mean, he does look the first choice as far as leader goes. I mean, he's drawn gate 1, so he's in a prime spot to get forward. Interesting with Sake Win getting into the race now with the defection of Lightning Warrior. He's a horse that likes to race prominently as well. And he's got cheek pieces going on for the first time, so they might try and be a bit more positive with him perhaps and go forward like they have been. Awesome Treasure and Beauty Tycoon, Paul, I don't think will be too far away. The latter's drawn gate 3.
Yeah, Beauty Tycoon, he settled a lot better last start because of a strong pace. I think he'll get a good pace in this race. Midori Beauty's got that wide draw. I think you have to go back from that wide draw.
Is there a quickly as well, is there a chance that if they overcook it in front, that Beauty Tycoon can capitalise on that?
Yeah, well, he did last time, didn't he? Came through nicely, so there is that opportunity for him.
Yep, he certainly did. So now we can highlight Happy Shearing, and now this is going back to the start here. Keep an eye on Midori Beauty as well, Nick. He's got a few bad tendencies, this horse, and this is one of them, missing the start.
Yeah, not ideal, is it, really, when you're racing over this sort of trip, and he's got himself on the back foot from an early stage, but once we picked them up in the straight, Happy Shearing's obviously got himself into a great spot, and he came into the race in very good form, and very shortly, Paul, we'll see Midori Beauty get up to a few little antics and sort of throw his race away, if you will, but he certainly would have been a lot closer, wouldn't he, with a straight run?
No, definitely. He's definitely green. That's the key from him. You can see him running out there. Happy Shearing was straight as an arrow and won the race nicely. Look, you can see him back on. He's got the raw talent. He just needs to put it all together, basically.
Yeah, Happy Shearing's put on 20 pounds since his last run, and here's the head-on view just to get another angle of it as well. Happy Shearing on the inside, and you can see Zach with the stick there, and then he just runs out and out and out, and Zach has to balance him up again. So he's certainly still learning on the job. There is Chris So trained at Midori Beauty. Does have talent, but is very wayward. We can move on from him to Beauty Tycoon, who's had the perfect run last start. Paul, Beauty Tycoon, and John Size put the appropriate gear changes on, and they worked the oracle.
They did. He got the perfect run in behind, as you say, but he could get a similar type of run from barrier 3 here. It was a good run from him, and he hit the line well, and he won nicely. One Voice is going to be one of the favourites earlier on in the card, and these two went clear.
Yeah, I think that's key, isn't it? They were clear of, well, I say clear of the third. They were sort of nicely spaced out at the finish, but I think he's beaten a handy one, and good to see him finally get that win because he's got talent, that horse.
Yep, he'd been a bit costly in the past. You can see some rain about on this day when Sake Win was first up back on the 1st of October. Telecom Speed in the race as well. Sake Win has won first up in the past, Nick, but didn't on this occasion. Here he is second up. He's also won second up too.
Yeah, and what I like about this horse and sort of what they're doing with him now is they're putting the cheek pieces on. I just felt with this effort he just lacked a little bit of concentration, and hopefully the headgear will aid him in that regard. So I don't mind him in this. And as for Telecom Speed, Paul, he should certainly come on for that first run.
Yeah, then there was rain about, so that might have been a bit of an excuse for him as well.
Victor, the winner, he was very good this day, Paul. He was well supported in the market, beat the Hulk. Quite impressive the way he was able to kick away over the final stages.
Really good, dictated from the front. He'll get a bit more pressure of Happy Shearing in the race, but he can't do any more than this on debut, and he was very impressive.
Yeah, he looks very uncomplicated too, doesn't he? And Matthew Poon able to sit up on him as well. The form has taken a very healthy boost on Wednesday evening. Gallant Waking was 4th there, Melbourne Hall 7th. They've both won since.
Yep, they certainly have. He's been back to the trials as well. Nick, he was up on the pace here in the trial, and he looks to have come through it well. He's about the same body weight also. Yeah,
just a really nice horse. And I think what was noticeable on his debut, Tom, was that he sort of blew us all away a little bit because we knew he was clearly handy, but the way he managed to win, Paul, was mightily impressive. So he's confirmed that with a good trial.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the main chances. There's no doubt. No, the trial was good.
A horse in the checks finishing off on the fence in that trial was Golden Artie. Now here he is trialling with Spangled Fortune. What do we know about these horses, Paul? Spangled Fortune raced in France, and Golden Artie came through the Magic Million 2-year-old classic behind Coolangatta.
Yeah, tongue tie on Spangled Fortune by Star Spangled Banner, as you'd expect with that name. 1,082 pounds. He's had the 2 trials. Tricky draw on debut in a hard race, barrier 11. Golden Artie, 1,169 pounds. He's had the 3 trials.
Yeah, he hasn't raced for a little while as well, as Spangled Fortune, but 2 interesting runners.
Yeah, and the France form, Nick, did win at Deauville prior to arriving, but they were over trips of, 1,300 metres, got up to 1,500 metres as well.
Yeah, all of his form was on polytrack also, so he's never actually raced on turf, which could be a slight concern.
OK, so we'll see what he can do with their Spangled Fortune, a 3-year-old Irish bred. Tamara Blitz has only had 1 run. Paul was beaten 4 1/4, but I thought finished off OK. And I haven't minded the trials leading into this either.
Yeah, the trial here at Happy Valley was quite good. Again, another one with a draw with pace underneath him. Barrier number 12, Lyle Hewitson, will ride him.
Yeah, he's been flagged up by Douglas White as a bit of a horse to follow as well. So I think in time, over a bit more ground, should be a nice horse.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's been flagged up on one of our other shows, so Hong Kong Direct there. Paul, who's going to steal the Magpie handicap?
Yep, it's not black and white for sure, but I'm going to go with the 11, Victor the Winner. I think he can lead from the front. Midori Beauty needs to do everything right. Enchanting Ibis, he's only had the one start this season, ran on really nicely, caught the eye at Happy Valley and Happy Sharing as well. 11, 5, 14 and 4.
Yeah, Victor the Winner, I think, is a bit of a standout now with the defection of Lightning Warrior, who would have made things interesting for sure. So the 11 on top, he's confirmed that win with a good trial. Beauty Tycoon at a bit of a price. I think he can continue to take the right steps forward. Midori Beauty, hopefully, he's ironed out a few sort of errors he's got, and he can hopefully run a nice race. And Saquin, I think, is interesting as well. 11, 8, 5 and 3.
And it's a very, very competitive ninth race on the program, open looking Class 3, 1,200 metres. Righto, Paul, there are 8 other winners to find. What have you found through the form guide?
Well, I thought UW Brothers been very consistent in race number 1. Kazi Farazi's a well-rated horse. One Voice is stepping up in trip, will suit him. Summer Chairs will come on from his last start. I thought he's a good chance. Dublin Star is a horse who's well-rated as well. Circuit Stella up to 1,600 metres. Looks good for him. Rise Brethren also up to 1,800 metres is a good thing for this horse as well. And the Golden Scenery almost won last time. I think he can get the chocolates in the last.
Yep, and that last race is a beauty as well. On that list, Paul, who's the best in the long shot?
Going to go with One Voice up to 1,400 metres. Looks ideal now for this horse. 2 starts for 2 seconds. So he's the best in the long shot. Dublin Star, he's well rated, this horse. He's won in the 60s before, and he'll get back, but I think he'll be running on strongly. His pace in the race. And we'll do the play in the main race. Wellington, Lucky Sweynesse and Cordyceps 6.
Yeah, best bet for me this weekend. I'm going race 7, number 8, Rise Brethren. Alexi Bedell on board. Going up in trip's going to be a massive plus for him, and this will be second run back since being gelded. Looks to have improved him. In the long shot, race 4, number 11, Gallant Hero for another Frenchman, Antoine Hamlin. He looks to be an improving type with racing. As far as the play is concerned, we'll keep it very simple. Race 10, 13, Galaxy Witness to win.
Best for me comes up in one of the mid-races. It is race number 6, horse 4, Powerful Wings for Ricky Ube and Sylvester de Souza. Race 6, number 4, Value. Bit of a throw at the stumps with Pinghai Bravo. Didn't mind his trial down the straight on Tuesday morning at Sha Tin. He's so well rated. Alexi Bedell, John Size, and the play will anchor Victor the Winner there. He's the banker with Midori Beauty, Beauty Tycoon and Tamra Blitz. That is just about the show. Going to be a great day at Sha Tin on Sunday afternoon. Some very competitive racing there. And then we've got 9 races on Wednesday night, Nick, on the dirt.
Yep, keep him busy. Looking forward to it. But the big race this weekend is certainly the standout.
Yeah, and that feature on the Wednesday night, Ricky Hugh's got Mighty Giant and Spirit Express. Yep. I'll see how they go on the dirt.
Yep, interesting there. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. We look forward to your company on Sunday afternoon at Sha Tin, the first at 1 p.m.